Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 1 of the Halloween Craft Countdown 2022. This is my yearly spooky extravaganza where I'm sharing 20 Cricut papercraft projects, all Halloween themed, for the next 20 days. If you haven't already registered, head to craftwithsarah.com/HCC for your free ticket. For day 1 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, I'll show you how to make this layered papercraft mandala bat. If you're new to making paper crafts with your Cricut, especially these layered designs, this is a great one to get started with because it's not got very many layers in. In fact, there's only one little layer that's stuck together with foam squares. This makes it perfect for going on greetings cards as it's not too thick to post. Let's find out how to get the file. If you've already registered your free ticket, check for an email from me with subject line Halloween Craft Countdown ticket information, or any of the other emails from me that you have been sent throughout the countdown. Can't find them? Check your junk or spam box to see if they've gone there by mistake. These emails contain the link to view the countdown projects and download today's files. Scroll down this page to find today's project. Click the button to start the files automatically downloading to your computer or mobile device. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files and projects from the Halloween Craft Countdown. All downloads come in zip folders. You will need to unzip them before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, open up Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Go into Upload and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer, or you can drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the download folder and then go into the folder within that called Cut Files. And then the file to upload into Cricut Design Space is the one which starts SVG. The other files won't load properly in Design Space, so it's really important that you choose the one which starts SVG. I'm going to click and drag that in, and then it should appear like this with all of the layers one on top of the other. If yours looks different and you see the layers next to each other instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file type. So if that's the case, click Cancel down here on the bottom and then try again and make sure you choose the one which starts SVG. This is good to go, so let's click Upload on the bottom right. And then when it's uploaded, it will appear here in my recent uploads. So I can click on it to get the green border around it and then press Add to Canvas. Here's my design loaded in, and you can see all of the layers down here on the right hand side. To resize the design, click on it and then make sure this little padlock icon is closed. If it's open, then click on it and it will close it. And that means that you can then resize it by choosing either the width or the height. And then when you change one of them, for example, if I make the width 8.5 inches and press Enter on my keyboard, the height changes in proportion, so it all stays looking exactly as it should. When you're ready to cut it out, click Make It over on the top right, and then Design Space will separate it out into the different colours. To change the paper size, go into this drop down over on the left and choose the paper that you want to use. You need to do that for every single colour. To save space on your cardstock, you can move things around by clicking and dragging. For example, I could move these tiny little orange pumpkins around the gaps next to the main cutout, and that means I could then use that bit of card for something else another time. Make sure when you're moving things about that nothing overlaps, because otherwise it won't cut out properly. But these all look good because there's a nice amount of space around each part. When you're happy with how everything is looking, click Continue and then it will connect to your Cricut machine. Get all of your layers cut out from cardstock and then we'll see how to stick it all together. Here are all of my layers cut out and I've just laid them one on top of the other to check I'm happy with all of the colours. I am, so let's move them all apart because we need to start at the bottom and work our way up. So I'm going to carefully pick up all the layers of the bat, move them to one side, and then we're left with these two layers which make up the sort of mandala patterned moon in the background. This is going to be a glue layer, and the glue I like to use is called Collall. It's great because it doesn't bend or warp the cardstock like some glues can do. And then I put it into these needle tip applicator bottles to make it super easy to get the glue into these delicate parts. So let's give this a go. All around here. You want to add a good amount because this is going to have all of the other layers on top of it. So you don't want it to fall off of that base layer. And then a bit of glue in some of these patterns will just help it get a more reliable stick. And that's where these little needle tips come in super helpful because they are very, very small. Okay. Line this up and it will fit perfectly onto that bottom layer. And the nice thing about glue is you've got a little bit of wiggle room if you need it, but I think I managed to get that pretty much spot on. The next layer is this one, which is going to sit over the top, and this will be a foam square layer. So I've turned it upside down and now I can add on my foam squares. I'm using the foam squares that come on a sheet, but as these ones are quite big, I have used a pair of scissors to cut them smaller. I've cut them all in half, and that just means I don't need to use as many. So my craft supplies go that little bit further, which is always a positive thing. Okay, so it does make it a little bit harder to get them off of the card, off of the paper, because they've all fallen apart into these teeny tiny little strips. But it's worth it to save the money on the craft supplies by only using half as many. And also by cutting them smaller, it means I can fit them into the little gaps a little easier. When you're adding your foam, you want to make sure you put a good amount on here so that it's going to create a nice, even, stable level for the card. If, for example, you only put a couple of bits there and maybe some there and none in the wings, then you'll find that those wings will dome downwards under the weight of the piece of cardstock, especially once all the other layers are put on top. And it just won't look as good if it does that because you won't get as effective a 3D effect. I said the word effect too many times then. Hopefully you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now I'm peeling the tops off of these foam squares to reveal the stickiness underneath. Then this can go on top and it's going to line up with the wings along the edge. And I'm going to just gently place it on top and drop it down without putting any pressure on it. That way, if you haven't quite lined it up right, it's really easy to pick it up and take it off and try again without damaging anything. But I'm happy with that, so I'm going to push down all of those foam pads to get them nice and stuck. The next layer is the next solid one, and I'm going to glue this, and this is going to be only 2 layers of, one layer of foam squares, just the one that's under the purple. So it actually makes a really nice design to go on a greetings card because it's not too thick. If you wanted to, you could foam this one instead to give it a bit more dimension. But the reason I'm not is that the amount of purple that shows is quite small. So I think if I was to foam this one, then the shadowing would kind of lose the purple detail around the edge. Whereas with glue, because it sits flat against the purple, you're not going to get those shadows and you'll be able to see all of that lovely purple around the edge. So this sits kind of in the middle of the purple. So you should be able to see that little border of purple all the way around. That just goes right in the middle, like that. The final layer is this one, which you could just stick on like this, or you can add the little glowing eyes to the pumpkins. To do that, turn it upside down, and then I'm going to bring in my pumpkins, and then with your glue, put a teeny bit into the edges of the pumpkins. Ooh, I've got a string of glue there. And then take your little pumpkin pieces and turn them upside down. And they should fit over the edges like that. They are all slightly different sizes, so make sure you have got them the right way around. I think I've just done that one wrong, because this should be the slightly thicker pumpkins, whereas the top ones are the longer, thinner ones. So, whoopsie-doops. Might actually just take it off and put it on the right one. There we go. Crisis averted. And then there's still some glue on there. There we are. And then the next one. They are very similar though, so if you do put the wrong ones on, it doesn't really matter. And if any of the orange does poke out of the edges, it just looks even more like a glowing pumpkin. So it's fine. If I turn this around, you can see now we have those kind of edges, eyes, glowing eyes of the orange in those pumpkins. But I'm going to turn it upside down again and add my glue. This one is definitely a glue layer because it's so thin along these edges. Now this is the part where I get glue all over my fingers. Let's carefully turn it over and stick down. And this time it lines up exactly on that black layer. There we go. Oh, that went down pretty easily. And then I'm going to gently tap this so that I know it will stick. But I don't want any of that glue to smush out the sides and make a mess. So I'm being really, really, really gentle. Like that. And there we have it. Our layered paper craft bat for Halloween. So this one is not as deep as I would usually do. So as I said, there is only that one layer of foam, but I think that makes it really nice for greetings cards, for sticking up straight on the wall, or even maybe to put on your front door for Halloween for all of the trick-or-treaters to see. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make your very own layered mandala bat for Halloween. Don't forget the file is free for the next 24 hours, so register for your free ticket at craftwithsarah.com/HCC, or if you're already registered, check your emails for how to get the download file. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2. Bye!